This is City Manager Bill Osborne, and welcome to another edition of On the Agenda. My special guest today is Bennett Oliver, Director of the City of Douglasville Parks and Recreation Department. Bennett, welcome to On the Agenda.
Good to be here.
Well, you were appointed back in June to be Director of the City Parks and Recreation Department, succeeding longtime Director Tracy Ivy. Of course, you'd been a member of the staff for some 3 years as the Athletic Coordinator. And this is the first time you've been my guest on the agenda, but you've been a regular really recently on City TV with your own program, The Lineup. Of course, at that point, you're asking questions of people, and today I'm going to be asking you questions, so people will have an opportunity probably to find out more about who Bennett Oliver is on this program than perhaps they did on the Lineup programs that you do. But let's just start with that. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school, what you were doing before you came to work for Douglasville.
Okay. Well, I was born in Albertville, Alabama, which is in North Alabama. I went to high school there and graduated. Then I went to Jacksonville State University and graduated with a recreation administration degree. We moved here to Douglasville about 11 years ago. I have a beautiful wife of 19 years. And a beautiful daughter, which is 8 years old, which is Bailey.
Right.
And my wife is a psychologist here in town. And as far as business-wise, I've been in private business most of my life. I did in 2000. I became the director of golf at a golf course over in Smyrna, Georgia. Kind of got into the golf business, but my dream was to get back to my education, to get back to the recreation department, and then I came to work here 3.5 years ago.
Right. And of course, back in June of this year, Mayor Thompson had recommended to the City Council that you be the city's new Parks and Recreation Director. Mm-hmm. You were confirmed by the City Council on June 21st. And of course, you came into this position at a time certainly of a lot of change going on, especially as it relates to Hunter Park. So tell us a little bit about what you did during your first 3 years here, and tell us how your life has changed in the last few months.
Well, I was hired originally, which was a great opportunity for me as the youth athletic coordinator. I kind of worked my way up to athletic director for the city, and I held that position for several years until, of course, this opportunity came along. I would say, the biggest change, I used to be an employee, but now I have a couple of employees under me with the department, so certainly supervision of those is a little bit different. And plus, I'm home on the weekends a little more. When I was the athletic coordinator, I was at the ball field on Saturdays watching the kids play and dealing with the coaches and things of that nature. So I kind of get the weekends off sometimes, so that's nice.
Right. Well, during this program, we want to talk about a number of things in the Parks and Recreation Department, and including what's going on in Hunter Park. And of course, Hunter Park basically has been closed down for the last few months. Right. You and your staff have been housed over at Davis Park, and of course by the time this program gets ready to be aired and during the time that it's running on City TV, you'll probably be moving into new offices in Hunter Park and getting settled in there. I know you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, our offices for the Parks and Recreation Department at Hunter Park was in the Ike Owens building, which was built in the early 60s. And so in December, we did move over to the Jesse Davis Hawthorne Center, which is a 7-year-old facility. So, yeah, it's always nice to get into a new facility, and me and my staff, we're certainly looking forward to moving over to the Hunter Park Community Center.
Right. Well, I know you recently learned a lot about the history of the Parks and Recreation Department, that you and Dot Paget, a longtime resident, knowledgeable person in Douglasville history, a community leader. You did a two-parter, I understand, for the lineup. And while we don't want to repeat some of the things that you and Ms. Paget talked about, we'll probably touch on a couple of those things. What we want to talk about today are several parts of the Parks and Recreation Department's activities. And I want to start with Davis Park on our city's north side under the 2002 Splosh program. And to our viewers who have not seen my program much in the past, SPLOSH, Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, and that tax was voted on by the voters countywide back in 2002, gave us money to do a number of things in Parks and Recreation, part of which was to do a major upgrade in Davis Park. And with that work, coupled with what had been done a few years earlier, the city had received a community development block grant from the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, put some local funds with it, and built the Alice J. Minor Hawthorne Community Center, which has the only gymnasium, of course, in our parks program. That made a tremendous improvement in what we were able to offer through Davis Park. Of course, the last few months, part of that space was not available for meetings or other activities because that's where your offices had to be. Sure. But now that you're moving back to Hunter Park, Charles Thomas, the director of Davis Park, will be able to have more of a return to their regular program. What are you looking for in Davis Park over the next few months now that that space in the Hawthorne Center has been vacated?
Well, you know, Charles Thomas does a great job. He's been with the city for many years, and over at Jesse Davis at the Hawthorne Center, we have 2 rooms that we actually rent out to wedding receptions, birthday parties, showers, and things of that nature. Like you said, we had to take up one of those for our office space, so once we're gone, we'll be able to rent out both those facilities, rent out the gym more often. Mm-hmm. And one thing, since the pool closed at Hunter Park, you know, Jesse Davis will have the only public swimming pool in Douglas mm-hmm. County as far as an outdoor pool.
Right.
And so, you know, I look for good things, and I'm amazed every day somebody new comes over to Jesse Davis and they're like, I had no idea this was over here. Right. And so Jesse Davis has an outstanding future.
Right. Now let's go south of I-20, Fowlerfield Park, land that the Fowler family gave to the city a few years ago. A tract of land on the east side of Chapel Hill Road at Anawake Creek had been used for some years by the Douglas County Soccer Association, and of course still is being used in that way as a city park. We did, through the 2002 SPLOSH program, made some improvements in that park, built a concession restroom facility, installed a playground, paved the parking area. And in order for people in the community that wanted to be at the park but not necessarily playing soccer, we did build a walking track. Mm-hmm. Of course, September of 2009, that park got mm-hmm. almost totally washed away by the flooding and the heavy rains. And it's, of course, took months to get it back in use, and we still have some things, I think, being done to restore it to its former condition. So tell us a little bit about Fowlerfield Park with what we have there.
Well, Fowler Field is used tremendously by the public, especially the walking track. During the floods of 2009, we received about 21 feet of water on that facility. And the water, in the end, wasn't really the problem. It was the silt that it left behind. Mm-hmm. And the maintenance staff, with Bobby Willingham, they had to go in and take out about 25 dump truck loads of silt that was on top of the playing field. Right. Once they did that, we had to go put about 250 pallets of sod to replace some of the sod on the field, which, interestingly enough, came from the fields that were taken out at Hunter Park. Right. We were able to cut that sod and use over there. But the 21 feet of water, it did flood the concession stand area. We had to completely go in and renovate that concession stand area and do some work on the parking lot also. But we opened that park back up to the public early in July of this year, and so people are enjoying it.
Before we start talking about a couple of our other major parks, just want to identify, we have 3 neighborhood parks. Mm-hmm. Where we have no staffing, limited facilities, but Mill Village Park, which is certainly valuable for that community, Wortham Park, just across the railroad tracks from the downtown area, and Keith Park on the north side, in what I call the northwestern part of the city. But, you know, in that 2002 SPLOSH program that I mentioned previously, we had 3 major projects. One was to upgrade Davis Park. The other was to totally rebuild Hunter Park, which we'll talk about later in the program. And the third being, of course, to purchase the West Pines Golf Course. That was a dilapidated course, and of course the city did purchase the land, and we did get a company to come in and really rebuilt West Pines, even changed from where you've got the clubhouse from being what I call in the northeastern part down to the southwestern part where you would enter off of Rose Avenue. It made actually a very good public golf course, and you know, everything went great for us until the hard economic times hit us, along with rough weather. I say we had too much rain part of the time, too little rain part of the time, too much heat part of the time, as well as just the economy in a dive, so that people were not playing as much golf as they had in rosier economic times. And certainly we're not where we wish we were with West Pines, but a lot better off than a lot of other courses, public and private, are. Just hopeful that 2011 brings blue skies economically and in the natural world. Right. But you said that you had worked at a golf course earlier in your career. So based on what you know about West Pines and your earlier experience in a golf course, give us a crystal ball view of what you see for West Pines.
Well, I think as far as the golf business, 1995 up to about 2000, you know, that was the glory days, they call them. They were building golf courses all over Atlanta. Many now say that they overbuilt, but you know, really when 9/11 happened, it really slowed the economic things down, and it really slowed the golf business down. It's been a rough go for golf courses since then, but then with the economic problems that we've had the last couple of years, it's really took a toll on a lot of golf courses. Right. You add that in with the weather that we've had, and they've had some trouble with their greens and tee boxes and things of that nature. So it's really been a rough couple of years for the golf industry, and a lot of courses haven't made it, of course, have gone out. But you know, looking at West Pines, it's a great facility. I mean, I play the course. It's centrally located. It's a public course, which there's not a lot of public courses left. We've had a couple go out of business here in Douglas County. So I really look, you know, it's hard to compete with Mother Nature, and in the golf business you have to do that. But you know, with some good weather conditions, the economy improving a little bit, I look for a great future for West Pines. I really think the golf course has a bright future. Right.
Now let's move a short distance away from West Pines, which is now the entrance, as we said, off of Rose Avenue, and go around the curve a little bit up to Gurley Road to Hunter Park, which is our biggest park. Before we talk about the renovation of Hunter Park, and especially the community center, I do want to just touch base on a project that we have in the park that some years ago the city of Douglasville and the Boys and Girls Club of Douglas County signed an agreement whereby we leased them some land in Hunter Park, and they built the Boys and Girls Club facility on that land. You know, I think that's a pretty good relationship we've had in the past, because you've got the other park facilities and you got the girls and boys clubs. So tell us quickly how that working relationship is and what you see for the future with that.
Well, Steve Horde is the director for the Boys and Girls Club at the Douglas County facility, and you know, I've been here for 3.5, 4 years, and we've had a great relationship. We do some partnerships. If they need a field, of course, you know, they call us, and we let them come out, and we use some of their facilities also. So. Right. I know they've taken over our tennis courts. We'll be getting new tennis courts. We'll talk about it a little later, but you know, they use those tennis courts now, and so that's a great improvement for their club. But really good working relationship with those guys.
Right. Now, in Hunter Park, for our viewers who've driven down Gurley Road in the last few weeks, they can tell that Hunter Park basically is a total construction zone. Yep. Community center, Ike Owens Community Center, has been demolished. Most of the ball fields, the swimming pool have been bulldozed. Largest lake has almost been totally drained. Plans, of course, had been prepared for the renovation, reconstruction, or the remaking of Hunter Park by the firm of Lyman Davis and Dooley. Bennett Construction Company has a contract to do this work. And of course, we're expecting in a few months, in reality, to have a new Hunter Park. I want you to give us kind of a brief report on where things stand on the reconstruction of Hunter Park.
Okay, well, we kind of did it in two phases. The athletic component was phase 2. They got started on that about 4 months ago. Right now, Hunter Park is totally demolished. You can't recognize it when you go down. but they'll start putting in storm drains, start building the parking lots first, and then they'll continue around February. They'll be through with the ball fields themselves. Unfortunately, you can't lay Bermuda sod in February, so they'll have to come back in April to actually sod all of the new fields, and then we'll start playing on them probably August of 2011.
Right, right. Now, we're spending about $8 million on the project that's ongoing at this time in Hunter Park, what you've just described in Community Center. And of this $8 million, almost $7.4 million is in splosh funds that we've talked about. And that $7.4 million was all of the money that we had allocated in the Parks and Recreation component of the splosh. But we had a little more that we wanted to do, and so the mayor and council did agree to take $625,000 out of the general fund reserve so that we were able to finish the drill, as it were, so that we had the facilities that we felt like would be good for this community. And we will have sufficient parking, we hope,
sure,
which we've never had before. You mentioned the new tennis courts that we will have. A lot of things going on there. And of course, the new community center that we're going to talk about in a minute, it will be completed very soon. But these other things still have some months to go before they will be finished. Right. And you know, I would think that people certainly can understand what you said, that we don't want people on the ball fields before we have that good stand of grass, because if you get on there too early, we'll just have to close the fields again and incur more cost to kind of make the repairs, won't we?
Right. More importantly, the turf companies, they'll guarantee the grass for 90 days as long as you stay off of it. Mm-hmm. But once you get on it, start playing early, you'll void the warranty, and if something happens at that
right.
point, we'll just be replacing the grass. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, you know, we hope all the people who want to get on those fields will understand why we're saying it's not time to do so yet.
Right.
Now, the main lake in Hunter Park, we've lowered the level of the water down a good bit because, again, go back to September 2009, all those heavy rains and flooding that basically it compromised the strength of the dam, and we felt like if we didn't do something that we could have a breach in the dam. And of course, it's taken some months of working with Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Georgia Emergency Management Agency, GEMA, consulting firm that was hired to really analyze what needed to be done. And we're moving along step by step on what's got to be done to get that lake, get that dam back where it needs to be with the integrity that we want it to have. So where are we in that process?
Well, I'll say it's been a slow process, and I guess when you get government agencies, 3 of them involved, that happens. But the main problem that we had was the overflow pipe that goes out of the lake to the creek. That was compromised, and so at some point we're making plans to come in and replace that pipe. And also, whenever we turn in a new permit, now it has to be rated, everything has to be built for a 500-year flood, which we talked about earlier. Well, the present dam that we had is not rated for that.
Right.
So we're going to have to go in and do some additional construction to the dam, redesign the outlets, enable to get that cleared. So that's the main holdup on the dam.
Right. And to our viewers, over the next few months, I'm sure on the lineup, I may have you back again on this program. Mm-hmm. We'll try to bring people up to date on what's happening with the remake of Hunter Park, but it's an exciting time for all of us. But and I know when you and Dot Paget, when you did the 2-parter that we had mentioned earlier, that tracing the history of the department up to the present time, and you talked about the Ike Owens building, you talked about the new community center, and I don't want us to repeat what y'all talked about. I simply want to say to our viewers, be sure you you check out the schedule so that you can see those 2 episodes of the lineup, and you'll get from Dot Paget and Bennett Oliver a good dose, I think, of the past and moving up to the current. But there are a few things I want us to talk about on the community center without maybe overlapping what you did. But part of the overlap is I do want you to give us a thumbnail sketch of the community center. And as you do that, we're going to show you some footage that was taken by City TV back on October the 14th. Mayor Thompson, members of the City Council, the 2 of us, a couple of other staff members, City TV, we did a tour of the community center, which, of course, construction is much further along now, but just tell us about some of the key things in that building, and we'll have Kelly Hunter and her staff show some things while you're doing that.
Sure. Well, the new community center is a 16,000 square foot facility. We're going to have 8 rooms that we can rent out for different occasions. The biggest room will hold about 160 people with tables and chairs. In that room is a full kitchen with a refrigerator, ice maker, stove, and microwave. On the back of the community center will be a patio area where people can kind of overlook the lake, and also the train will be coming back, and that the train goes directly behind the community center. So,
right. Well, I think for people that have used the Ike Owens building, which was good in its day, this is going to be just a wonderful change for them, and I think they will really enjoy the facilities that have been built. The kitchen that we will have, the AV equipment that you'll have in some rooms. Now, I know that one of the things we looked at was, I'm going to call it a dance studio. That's probably the wrong identification, but
no,
I think you got a ballet pole.
Yep. Got a complete dance studio with a hardwood floor, mirrors on the walls, and of course a ballet bar going all the way around it. So we'll be getting into some programming certainly for people to use that room.
Right. And your biggest room that you'll have will accommodate how many people?
160 people, when that's including tables and chairs. Okay.
Now, one of the things that you just said that I want to emphasize to our viewers, the train is coming back.
Yep.
The train had been a fixture in Hunter Park for a long time, and it had reached a point that it couldn't operate anymore. Right. So we have had the train totally rebuilt. Gentleman Denver Moss from Locust Fork, Alabama,
yep.
Whose passion is rebuilding trains and train tracks. I think he's done a tremendous job for us, and it's taken a long time. In fact, we've kidded at City Hall, the elected officials and some of the staff, that we didn't think the train ever would come back, but it is coming back. And I think people will enjoy it, and just like the community center, we've moved it from one side of the lake to the other side of the lake, so that, and as you mentioned, basically the loading, unloading for the train is right behind the community center, and so these will be tied together, and in fact, if you're having some type of function, you may be able to look out the window and see the train going by.
But certainly be able to hear it. So.
And that'll be great to know that we've got the train there, and so we're all looking forward to that. Bennett, one thing I want us to touch on that I think will be beneficial to people who use the space in the community center, as well as our downtown conference center and over at the Hawthorne Center in Davis Park, is I know you've been working with Marcia Hampton, Director of our Community and Downtown Services Department, Jennifer Bean, who is the coordinator of our Downtown Conference Center. And what we've done is y'all have put together kind of a coordinated composite rental schedule for city facilities, so that someone that's looking to have some type of event, and we're showing this on the screen. If you want to jot down the number, the email address, that if you have an interest in having a wedding reception, a meeting, a family reunion, whatever it may be, that we can tell you what we've got available in the new community center at Hunter Park, at the Hawthorne Center in Davis Park, at the Downtown Conference Center. there will be while it's a coordinated rate structure, we're not charging the same thing because we've got different type facilities with the kitchen facilities and everything, but it almost gives a one-stop shop opportunity for people who have an interest in having an event or a meeting of some kind in city facilities. So tell us how this is going to work if somebody calls, say, Hunter Park, or they call the Downtown Conference Center, and how you keep up with this so you're not booking two things in the same place.
Well, our goal was to consolidate all the rentals because we have people come in sometimes at Jesse Davis or at Hunter Park, and the facilities are full, and so we can't help the people out.
Right.
And so the software system that we have now, all of our rental rooms all over the city, whether it's Jesse Davis, Hunter Park, or the Downtown Conference Center, they're on the computer software. And if that person's standing in front of us and we can't help them, if we can't help that citizen, then we can certainly go ahead and book that at another facility, or tell them what facilities we have that are available that weekend or that Saturday, and get them pointed in the right direction. So kind of consolidating, but in the end, I think it will help more people be able to rent those facilities.
Right. And of course, you know, our desire is we got the facilities, we'd like to see them rented, but we also want the people to have them available to use. And if the inn, there's no place in the inn on this side of the street, maybe they will be on the other side of the street. So we're looking forward to that. Now, one of the other areas I want to mention concerning our community center is that recently the mayor and the city council appointed a group of people to provide some assistance in working with you on what type of activities that we might have as we reopen the Hunter Park Community Center. And at the time we're taping this program, we can't tell you exactly when the community center will open. We can't tell you what the schedule will be. You'll be able to get that information. We'll have it in the newspaper, but also on our website. So if you can see our website, and certainly you can telephone Bennett Oliver's office. But what we did ask is a group of citizens to work with Mr. Oliver on coming up with what type of programming we would have in the facility to start with. The mayor and council also working with staff on looking at what the rental rates will be for whatever activities would be, whether it's the type of meeting or event we talked about earlier, or whether it's some of the classes that we would have that would be offered in the community center. And I know that group, when everything is said and done, I think it will have been valuable to you to have had their involvement.
Yeah, what we wanted to do is just get kind of a cross section of people, citizens, to kind of tell us what they expected from the new community center,
right.
How they wanted us to run the programs, who they wanted to run the programs, and things of that nature. So we've met a couple of times, and they've gave some excellent suggestions. And in the end, you know, we kind of told them, you know, this is your community center. Now we want you to give us input of what you would like to see from it, and they've really gave some good suggestions so far.
Very good. It's been a pleasure having you on the agenda today. Always give my guests an opportunity for a final word, so here's your opportunity.
Well, I would just like to say it's a very exciting time for Parks and Recreation Department. This was a great opportunity for me to come in during the construction of a new park, a renovation of a park. Some directors probably dream of this their whole career, and they never get the funds given to them to make this happen. So I've got a great staff. I'm hiring some new staff in preparation for opening. So we look forward to serving the public and making the community center and Hunter Park just a great place to visit.
Right. Bennett, great to have you today on the agenda. To our viewers, thank you for being with us. Until next time, this is City Manager Bill Osborne signing off from On the Agenda.